break it down. The first thing that stands between you and writing your first real pieces of code is learning the skill of breaking problems down into the achievable little actions that a computer can do for you. Of course, you and the computer will also need to be speaking common languages, but you will get to that topic in just a bit. Now, breaking problems down into a number of steps may sound like a new skill, but it's actually something you do every day. Let's look at a simple example. Say you wanted to break the activity of fishing down into the simple set of the instructions that you could hand to a robot. Who would do your fishing for you? Here is our first attempt to do that. Let's break the process of catching fish down into the number of easily understood steps. Sure. 1. Put worm on hook. We follow the steps in order. Okay. 2. Cast line into pond. Some steps are simple installation or statements, if you will, like cast line into pond. 3. Watch the border until it goes underwater. A statement might conditionally wait before proceeding. 4. Hook and pull in fish. This statement only happens after the boober has gone underwater in the previous statements. 5. If done fishing, then go home, otherwise go back to step 1. Statement can also make decisions like, is it time to go home or should we keep fishing? Notice that often statements repeat, like here if we don't go home, we instead go back to the beginning and repeat the instructions to catch another fish. Wow! Okay, please look at the picture. You can see what the bobber is. It's a floating plastic things, right? And the hook and the worm. Okay. You can think of these statements as a nice recipe for fishing. Sure, like any recipe, this one provides a set of steps that, when followed in order, will produce some result or outcome, in our case, hopefully catching some fish. Notice that most steps consist of a simple instruction, like cast line into pond or pull in the fish. But also notice that other instructions are a bit different because they depend on a condition, like is the bobber above or below water? Sure. Instructions might also direct the flow of the recipe, like if you haven't fished fishing, then cycle back to the beginning and put another worm on the hook. Or how about the condition for stopping, as in if you are done, then go home? Sure. You are going to find that these simple statements or instructions are the foundation of coding. Sure. In fact, every app or software program you've ever used has been nothing more than something large set of simple instructions to the computer that tell it what to do. Sure. Exercise. Real recipes don't just tell you what to do, they also include objects that are used in making a particular dish, like measuring cups, whisks, food processors, and of course ingredients. What objects are used in our fishing recipe? Circle all the objects in the fishing recipe on the previous page and check your answer at the end of the chapter before moving on. This is a workbook. You can write it in. In fact, we encourage it. Sure. Sharpen your pencil. Wow. One thing to understand right up front is that computers do exactly what you tell them. Nothing more, nothing less. Look at our recipe for fishing on the previous page. If you were the robot and you followed these instructions precisely, what problem might you encounter? Do you think we would really be successful using this recipe? Okay, please imagine the structure of the fishing, the bobber, the hook, the worm. The line, in the case you are not familiar with fishing, this is a bobber, otherwise known as a fishing float. Yes, when a fish bites, it goes underwater. You'll find the answer to sharpen your pencil exercise at the end of the chapter. Okay, so please look at the question. A. If there are no fish, you are going to be fishing for a very long time, like forever. B. If the worm falls off the hook, you'll never know about it or replace it. C. What happens if we run out of the worms? D. Did we specify what to do with the fish when we put it in? E. What happened to the fishing rod? F. Can you think of more issues? Haha, okay, that's interesting. Okay. I bought this expensive technical book to learn to code, and you're starting by telling me about recipes? That doesn't sound very proposing or well technical. Okay. Actually, a recipe is a perfectly good way to describe a set of instructions to a computer. You might even run into the term loosely used here and there in the more advanced programming books. Heck, you'll even find books on common software development techniques that are called cookbooks. Wow, didn't know that. That said, if you want to get technical, we can. A computer scientist or serious software developer would commonly call a recipe an algorithm. Oh, algorithm is a recipe. Okay, now I understand it. Okay, what's an algorithm? Well, not much more than a recipe. It's a sequence of instructions. It's a sequence of instructions that solves some problem. Often you'll find the algorithm. Are first written in an informal form of code called pseudocode. More on pseudocode in a bit. One thing to keep in mind is that whether you are talking about a recipe, pseudocode, or an algorithm, the whole point is to work out a high-level description of how to solve a problem before you get into the nitty-gritty details of the writing code that a computer can understand and execute. As you'll see, this can make the task of coding more straightforward and less error-prone. Okay. In this book, you'll hear us interchanging all these terms where appropriate and all in your text job interview. You might want to use the term algorithm or even pseudocode to ensure that larger signing bonus. But there is still nothing wrong with the word recipe. Okay. Just as there are many recipes for the same dish with the algorithm, you'll find there are many ways to solve the same problem, like mathematics, right? Because this is mathematics. Some more tasty than others. Yeah, some more appropriate, faster, more elegant than others, right? Like solving a mathematical problem in many ways. Code magnets. I see. Interesting. Let's get a little practice with algorithms. We put the head first dinner's algorithm for making a 3-egg omelette on the fridge to remember it, but someone came along and messed it up. Can you put the magnets back in the right order to make our algorithm work? Note that the head first dinner makes 2 kinds of omelettes, plain and cheese. Make sure you check your answer at the end of the chapter. Rearrange these magnets here to make the algorithm work. Okay, please look at the photo. If the customer ordered cheese, add cheese on top, while eggs aren't fully mixed. Transfer eggs to plate. While eggs aren't fully cooked, Remove pan from heat. Stir eggs. Serve. Heat salt pan. Whip eggs. Crack 3 eggs into bowl. Transfer eggs to a pan. Sure. Good analogy.